Hello everyone, I welcome back you all to my YouTube channel, and today's video is going to be super important and very crazy. Reason being, for all the people who want to start their machine learning journey, and especially they want to understand how the algorithm works, like in statistics, how actually this whole machine learning thing is happening, how the AI thing is coming up. So basically today we are starting that officially in this particular playlist. So the topic for today is going to be what is machine learning, what are the types of machine learning, then we'll talk about regression, then classification. But today we would be more covering in detail how machine learning is working, where it exactly fits in the whole AI scenario, and how the regression works. And in the last I will take one real life example of logistic regression, which is the most used algorithm in the statistics. If you want to do a job in banking sector, that is going to actually help you, because the logistic regression itself is able to solve so many problems, like whether the default will happen or not, whether the fraud will happen or not, whether a vaccine will be approved or not. So please stay with me till the end of this video and you will learn a lot right from the scratch. What is machine learning? We'll go till the whole cycle of what is logistic regression, and we'll execute a code in the pyspark, and you guys will get that code at the end of the video, so you can run it at your own level. Okay, on that note, let me start today's video without wasting your time. So guys, let's start the real content for the video. So obviously the first thing, what is machine learning and how this machine learning thing is actually changing the company's future and why companies are using it. Okay, so you can simply say that machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Okay, so just make sure you guys know that AI is a bigger term. Okay, machine learning is a subset of AI. Basically it has derived from there. Okay, now the second point you should know, if you break it into two words, machine is learning, right? So machine is what? Any algorithm or any particular mechanism which you are creating using any programming language, that is your machine system. Or learning is what? Now learning is something when your machine is learning something and basically use the experience. So we can say ML makes machine learn on the basis of past experience. So on the basis of the past experiences or the past data, the machine would be learning so many things which you will be implementing. And it is nothing, it's a basically algorithm to identify patterns in the data. Okay, we can define this. ML is based on algorithms, based on algos to find data pattern. That is on the basis of the past data. So you can link point number 2 and point number 3. Okay, the key idea to enable machine to adapt and evolve through data driven decision. This is the key idea that machine will be able to learn. Now this is key idea. So machine, let me write, can learn. Now these are the 4 bullet points which you should remember when somebody is asking you what is machine learning. So this could be your answerable, and this answer will suffice the need of the person, that what is the use of machine learning. Now machine learning is subset, as I said. So artificial intelligence is a bigger thing. Machine learning is only focused on the specific area where you need predictions. Okay, now what are the applications, like why we need basically machine learning? So obviously that question can come up. What is the application of this machine learning? So I'll tell you sector by sector. Like banks, they want to detect the fraud. They want to get to know that how many people will flaunt the rule and they will default in the loans, how many people will not pay the credit card EMI on time. So for all of that they are using machine learning. Other than that, real-time ads also can run with the help of machine learning. Then clinical trials, all the healthcare sector, they can predict whether based on the sample, they can predict whether this particular vaccine will be helpful for a certain disease or not. This also you can do with the help of machine learning. Now, what is the process of machine learning? Obviously this question may come up like, what is a raw algorithm? Obviously we heard about all these fancy terms, logistic regression and classification and forest, but what is a basic algorithm which machine learning follows? So that is something, let me tell you that. So number one thing is your data. Obviously everything starts from your input. Okay, so data is something which is your step one. Then cleaning data. So basically you will clean the data and make it useful for yourself. Okay, then you will create the model. Model can be any classification problem, it can be any regression model, anything. Okay, now after the model you will test the model, then you will deploy the model. In this particular stage you will do the training. So after training we test the data and then we deploy the data. If testing does not satisfy the need, like sometime what will happen, training will be going good but testing, it's failing on the testing phase, so it will send in this particular phase. So how many steps? Machine learning 1, 2, third step, fourth step, and then you have the fifth step. So according to these 5 phases, you can define the machine learning. That machine learning basically function on these 5 steps. Now, one very important announcement, guys. You will be able to download this sheet from my GitHub repository from the description box in the video. So don't make notes if you don't want to make the notes and just focus on the video. I would say you can do that because you will be able to download this. Now, machine learning is of 2 types. What are the types of machine learning? Applications we have understood. Now there are 2 types. One is your supervised machine learning. Second is unsupervised ML. Now there are a couple of difference in both of them. So it basically signify on the basis of certain pointers. So in supervised learning you have labeled data. What is labeled data? Like in the tables in relational databases, you have the name of the table, you have the name of the column, everything is sorted. In the unsupervised learning, you don't have the column name properly populated. So we can say unlabeled data. I hope you got what is label. Label means like you will not have the proper naming convention and the proper column name are not there. Okay. Now in supervised learning, the output is new data. Output is new data. So when you run the supervised machine learning algorithm, in the output also you will get the data which is a new data as a result. Okay. Unsupervised learning, it's not generating new data, it identify patterns. Like example of this will be output new data, as in let's say in a bank, so many people are having credit cards. So if bank want to predict whether the person will default or not, so this will be a new data. New data will come in the final output because you will have the list of the people where people are going to default. While on the unsupervised learning, what will happen? Let's say on a cricket match, okay, on the day of the cricket match, there are positive sentiment, negative sentiment for both the team from different countries. Now in that data you will not be able to generate a new data, but you will be doing some analysis on the basis of that particular match, and then you can identify the pattern that which country is more likely to win as per the crowd. Okay, so that is a pattern recognition. Now the example of both of them here, your example is linear regression, which is heavily used. Then you have decision tree, and then you have neural networks. So these are the example of supervised learning. Now unsupervised learning, what are the example? Like clustering, k-means algorithm, which we use here, because there you create the cluster of similar habits. Then you have principal component analysis, which is very rarely used. Principal component analysis. Mostly in the sectors like banking and all, you will be most of the people you will see working on this supervised learning approaches. Even I work for this background, because supervised machine learning is all about the real time data, which is labeled data, and you have everything available like in the form of table. For example, I'll give you a real life example. Let's say you have a customer data in a bank. So in the customer data, you have customer ID, customer name, customer phone number, customer geographic location, customer students, whether it's a student or whether it is an employer, what is the salary of the customer, everything you will have there. So all of that is known as a label. That's why labeled data will have more demand in terms of jobs in India. That's what I have seen as per my experience. Okay. So this is about the type of the machine learning. Now from Spark, pyspark side, there is a library that is known as MLlib. So this particular library will be used when you want to write any model in pyspark. So in the example in this video, when I will do that a real life example, so you will be seeing the use of machine learning library, that is MLlib. Now guys, let's move forward. As I told you, we will be using this MLlib. So the most important question which most of us usually have when we are starting such kind of courses, since you are going through this video, is what is the difference in classifications and regressions, right? So there are two major type of algorithm, or on the basis of actually problem they are defined, like classifications and then regression. Now see, usually we start with classification, but in this video I am going to start with the regression and then we'll move to the classification algorithms, because regression is more important. I will say that. As per my experience, I have seen most of the models are built on either linear or logistic regression and decision tree and random forest. Classifications obviously is very much useful, but let's start with regression. So regression is basically what? What is regression? I'll tell you this. First, let me tell you the type of this. So there are two types. One is your linear regression, then you have the logistic. So what is regression? In Hindi, this is called as, I know about this particular word, that's why I'm mentioning it for the people if they are saying from the Hindi background. Now, what is regression? When you have some data, for example, okay, and you want to calculate some prediction on the basis of that, okay, there are two chances whether that is yes or no. That prediction can be yes or no. Obviously, probability is either 0 or 1. Simple. So that probability is moreover very important for logistic regression, because result is either 0 or 1 in logistic regression case. But in the case of linear regression, there is a linear relationship between the dependent and independent variables. Now, this term which I'm using, what is this? Dependent and independent variables. Now, what is dependent, what is independent, and what is the relationship between these two? Independent variables which are totally independent. Let's say, for example, if I tell you your salary. For bank, your salary is an independent variable because bank cannot control your salary. Your age, your credit history, all these are independent variable. What is dependent variable? Those are dependent on the independent variables. And the main example is whether the person will default or not, whether this person will stop paying EMI or not. So that is an example of a loan. If you are taking a loan from a bank, you are paying EMI, you pay EMI for, let's say, 6 months. On 7th month, you did not pay your EMI, then 8th month also you did not pay the EMI because of so and so reason. Let's say COVID was there was no job, many people have, so people could not pay the EMI, so they basically end up default. Now in that particular period, bank gave a relaxation, obviously because COVID was there, but usually bank are not bothered about what kind of situation you are in. Okay, bank is always made to build profit for themselves. That is a focus bank will have. Okay, they will support you very rarely, so that's why for them this dependent variable is very important. So bank, what you usually do when they are giving you the loan at that particular level only, when they are giving you the loan, they are doing this calculation that whether this person who has taken a loan, let's say the name of the person is Rajat, I have taken a loan, so this loan, whether Rajat will be able to pay it or not. So that calculation is dependent variable. And independent variable, everything, whatever my details like my salary, my age, my credit history, and how much debt I have already, how many products I have from the bank. Let's say I have a savings account and then I have a credit card and so many other things. What is my education background? How much experience I have, work experience. So all these basically help to predict whether the person is a default person or not. Because if a person have good experience, good education and good amount in the savings account, there are less chances that that person will default or not. So this kind of situation we usually solve with the help of regression. Now linear regression, let's talk about it 101. Okay, let me explain to you what is linear regression now. So let's talk about first linear regression. So let me mention that. Let's start with linear regression. So I told you guys just now, we have independent variable and then we have dependent variable. These are mostly called features. This is the output variable. Okay, so just remember, regression is what? Regression is a relationship between these two. Relationship between these two. What is linear regression? When you have a linear regression, linear relationship. Let's say I drive it this way. I have this x-axis, y-axis. Let's say on x-axis I drive experience, then y-axis we have salary. So the way experience will grow, the salary will also grow. Usually in ideal scenario, every year there will be promotions, then there is some appraisal cycle when the person will switch in different company, then again there will be a rise. So this kind of relationship between your salary and your experience is known as a linear relationship, because that usually increase. So these are moreover like similar type of impactful variable, like one have a linear impact on the other one. That's why it is called as a linear regression. Okay. Now I mentioned about this independent and dependent. Okay. Now this dependent variable must be continuous in nature, which is here. Okay. This is a bullet point you need to note. In the case of linear regression, dependent variable must be continuous in nature. So when we are calculating, it should go consistently and it should be continuous in nature. Now this is how the line will go, and the data points will fall somewhere near the line. So on the basis of the data points only, you are going to basically define that this is a linear regression problem. Now x is your output in the case of linear regression. Okay. Now linear regression is further divided into two types. One is simple linear, then multiple linear. Types are two. Number one is simple linear. What is simple linear? Just remember the equation for now. Y is equal to alpha 0 plus alpha 1 and y1. Similarly, because when you have like single variable, that is simple linear, one dependent, one independent variable, that is known as a simple linear regression. This equation is nothing. This equation is a kind of a updated version of y is equal to mx plus c, which is the equation we all know in mathematics. Now in this c is known as intercept. Okay, intercept, I hope all of you know mathematics. Okay, so intercept is there, then m is your slope, x is your what, this is your independent variable, you are calculating y here. Okay, so this is a simple linear regression. Now we have multiple linear. Let me shift a bit down. So then we have second type of linear regression, that is multi-linear regression. When you have so many data points, the equation will remain similarly, almost like it will have alpha 0 plus alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2. I hope you guys make sure that this alpha 1 is what is this alpha 1? This is your intercept. So I hope this is clear to you. Now alpha, some of the terminology are different. Okay, some may call this is as a regression coefficient also. It is either your intercept or your regression coefficient, so you can call it. Now on the basis of these equation, you can do the calculation. So that's how x is also feature. Okay, I told you that the independent variables are also known as features. That's why you will hear a term called feature selection. What is feature selection? Like selecting the correct independent variable. It basically independent variable like salary, geographic location, your credit history, yes, sub will have a very much impact. Okay, because you will be doing the calculations, so all of these will impact. So that's why the selection and the feature selection is very important for part of the model development life cycle. Now how you select the variable? Obviously this question will come. How to select variables or feature selection? How to do feature selection? This is the same thing. Feature selection. So to answer this, it's a very simple answer. The variable which have more of the intercept or regression coefficient value, that is the more impactful variable. Because like the variable, for example, if I say how many siblings you have, this does not affect the model a lot, because if you have 2 sister, 10 brother, does not matter. How much salary you have, how much experience you have, that does matter. So on the basis of the alpha or the intercept value, you usually do the feature selection. That is the most important part. Okay, now this is all about the linear regression. When you have like linear relationship between the two variable, and then this is of two type. Obviously I told you about the linear, simple linear and multilinear. When you have 1-over-1 relationship, you use simple linear. When you have one-to-many relationship, and usually you will use this only. Let me be honest, you will use multilinear, because in real life, in real time data in your offices, you have multiple variables. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about the most important concept for today now, which is logistic regression. Why I am saying logistic regression is most important? Because the real life problems are mostly revolving around logistic regression only. And trust me, if you're working in any sector, at least two sectors, I can assure you, if you're working on the banking or if you're working on the healthcare, so most of your models. So guys, let's talk about the logistic regression. As I said, the most important, most used one in the industry. How this basically works. Let me write one equation first. So y is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e to power x. This is known as what? Sigmoid function. So basically logistic regression is based on the sigmoid function. Why sigmoid function? Because the diagram, if you draw, of logistic regression will always come like this x axis, y axis, there will be a midline here. Okay, so the output of logistic regression is either 0 or 1. Always remember, that is probability. It will start from 0 it will go to 1, and this will be like 0.5. So the probability can be 0 or 1 only. Either a event can happen or not happen. It cannot be maybe. A person cannot on the maybe scale when he's defaulting a loan, right? It is either a person who's paying the loan or a person who's not paying the loan. So that's why this is based on the sigmoid function. Okay, now this E is a fixed value. The value of E is 2.718 as per mathematics. This is the equation. Now, as I told you, we have the dependent variable, then you have the independent variable. So this dependent variable is probability based. This is fully the probability. It's either 0 or 1. That's how it basically works. And then when you have the sigmoid function, so the upper body above 0.5 is known as class 1, whether the data belongs to class 1 or the data belongs to class 0. Okay, now this 0.5 is known as cutoff line. So cutoff line, above the cutoff line it's class 1, below the cutoff line it's class 0. That's pretty much clear. Now some bullet points which you should remember about logistic regression are: some data points in class 1 are there, then some are there in the class 0. Okay, now data points on the cutoff line are unclassified. Data points on cutoff line are called unclassified. So that is a difference. Okay, these are called as unclassified. Now evaluation of the logistic regression is usually done by confusion metrics. So again I will write it: evaluation of the regression is confusion matrix. Now what is confusion matrix? Let me define it to you. Then in the next video I will tell you a practical example of logistic regression from a very amazing example. Okay, next video I'll make on first logistic regression, then I'll make for linear regression, because I want to cover the tough part first, then the easiest part. Now the confusion matrix. Okay, so confusion matrix, let me just prepare one. So when you have the conditions which are true, okay, then there are some columns like total population. So total population is the total number of customers you are basically preparing this. Then you have a prediction value. Okay, if your prediction is what? Positive. And if your prediction is then negative, then this is the third column, prediction negative. So you have three values here: total population, prediction positive, then you have prediction negative. Why it is called confusion matrix, I'll just tell you. Once I'll draw this complete, so you will understand it very easily. Now in the total population, when I mention that conditions are true, so there are two scenarios. Again, if the condition is positive, if the condition is negative. So when both are positive, that is called true positive. When this is positive, this is negative, this is known as false negative, because this was the true scale. So this way, if you go, the condition is positive, that means this is false negative, because prediction says negative. The actual value, this is the actual, that is a prediction. This is actual value, these are the predictions. Now when both are condition positive, true positive, when true is positive, so this is known as false negative. Then this is negative, so but the prediction says that you are a positive condition, so this is false positive. Then this is a negative, actual and prediction both are negative, so this is a true negative. Okay, so this Fn is known as type 2 error. Sometime you will hear this terminology, type 2 error. Okay, false negative is type 1 error. What does that mean? False negative and false positive, if you see. So this, there is a relationship between them. And fraud detection, your disease detection, spam detection, whether the loan will default or not, they all use this. And what is false negative, false positive? Let me explain that also. False negative, false positive. If a man is pregnant, do you think man can be pregnant? No, but the prediction is saying, right, that man is pregnant. So that is known as false positive. Similarly, if a woman, we can see that the woman is pregnant, but the results say that the woman is not pregnant, that is false negative. It's very easy, okay? So on that note, guys, I will wrap up today's video, and I hope this video you liked, okay? And there are so many important things I have covered in a very precise way. And for the absolute beginner, this was the go-to video. So I will share this notes also with you on the description box. You can download it from my GitHub account. In the next video, I will meet you guys whether in that particular video, we would be covering a complete ECL model, like probability of default, LGD, loss given by default, exposure at default, and the complete expected credit loss. All those calculations will be done in the next video using pyspark, and I will give you the code also, which we will run in the data bricks. So I motivate all of you to join that video. 110% you will learn a lot, guys. That is going to be super important and very crucial video. On that note, I will wrap up this video. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and please share this video with your friends, your family, your colleagues, everybody, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much. And if you have any question, please put it in the comment section. I will reply to that. Thank you. All the best and happy learning.